Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Rewind, and today we're back with the Kawasaki GPZ1100, and we're going to answer the internet's most asked questions with regards to the GPZ and the journey we went on. So stick with us. So the first question, and these questions are in no particular order, but the first question is, Eric, your Speedo doesn't work, so how do you know you went all those miles? Well, if you look right here, we've got another Speedo added right there. So to give you some context about the Speedo and why it didn't work, and why when you see in all the videos that the Speedo is not working. Well, you have to kind of keep in mind the journey of this motorcycle and what we were going through and what we were trying to do by riding it to Colorado. The first time I rode this motorcycle was on Saturday late afternoon. First time I rode it. And that was because we had to wait to get tires on, we had to wait to put wheel bearings in, we had to wait on our sprocket to come in, all this stuff that just kind of pushed us back day and day and day. And it come to be the Saturday before we left. The first time I rode it was on that Saturday early evening. We left on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. So I did not find out until I rode the motorcycle that the Speedo cable that I had ordered was incorrect. It'd be great if I could just put an aftermarket Speedo in it. And I happened to have one, so I put it in, and I just zip tied it to the frame of the fairing and left it right there. It didn't have to be in a super visible spot because I really just used the RPMs. Once I figured out where I needed to be, I knew that 70 miles an hour is about 5,000 RPMs, and that's all I did. I just hit the throttle lock and I didn't worry about it. So I did use the trip odometer up top and the mileage counter, the odometer, so I could keep track of it. Now, what I will do when I get the correct Speedo cable in, which I haven't ordered yet, I will run the counter up. Just put a drill on it, I'll run the counter up. Just because I'd rather have it not have to do the math, right? So you can see on this Speedo, this was a brand new Speedo that I already had here, that it's got 2,980 miles, 0.7 is what's on the clock right now. I didn't ride quite 3,000. If you noticed, I missed the end. I didn't get the last 83 miles home. That was in the back of the truck. And I spent some time on a flatbed going from northern Mississippi into St. Louis. So those two things kind of held me up. And then I've ridden it since I've been back. So that's the first question is about the Speedo. Hey guys, just want to take a moment from the video and let you know that we have amazing t-shirts available. If you want to show your support for Motorcycle Rewind and this amazing motorcycle, you can pick up its own design, the outline, the silhouette of the GPZ. Check it out. Thanks again, guys. The link's in the description below, and you guys, back to the video. The second question that we have is, what did you do to the engine to get it to run, right? What did I do to the engine? So everything that I did to the engine, I'll kind of run it through and I'll show you what I did. The only parts that I put in this motor are on this engine. 4 spark plugs because it did not have spark plugs. 4 exhaust gaskets because it did not have exhaust gaskets. And if you watch the video, you can hear the ticking early on, and that has gone away. The only other thing that I bought that is related to the engine is sprocket because it didn't have one, and the hardware to hold it on. That's what's mounted to the engine. Obviously, I bought a chain. Obviously, I bought tires. Talking about the only other things that I bought for the bike, I bought this switch because it was bad. I bought a triple tree because I didn't have one. I bought a set of 84 forks, and then we had to modify that triple tree to make it work. So because I got the rest of the parts from the original owner. So I had ordered some parts, but we ended up selling those after the fact. That I ended up not needing after I got the original parts. So that was it. The only thing we did to the engine, the only parts, if you will, that we added to the engine were spark plugs and exhaust gaskets. And then we didn't take the engine apart. We soaked it full of Evaporust to get it to move. So we drained the oil. We filled it full of just all the juices that we had in the cabinet, and changed the oil a bunch. We did not put new clutch plates or anything like that. We did pull them apart. We did clean them, and by clean them, I scrubbed them on the concrete, and then I put them back together. The carburetor or fuel injection, we didn't buy anything for it. We took it apart, cleaned it, put it back together. I did add a fuel filter. Now, since we've been back, I've added an engine temperature sensor. We put new spark plugs in it, engine temp sensor, another fuel filter, and that's it. Oh, the only other thing I bought for the bike was, and I didn't buy it because I already had it on the shelf, was one coil. The coil for 2 and 3 was bad, and I had one on the shelf. I had a set of coils that I put it on, and we only changed one. So that was it to get it running. That's all we did. Guys, and this is the way I do it, which doesn't make it the right way, it just makes it the way I do it. It's, I don't like throwing money at them. I don't like, that's just not me. I buy it when I need to buy it, if I have to buy it. So with regards to that, so I didn't even put another new coil on because this one was still good. I mean, it's kind of crazy. That's the way I am. Again, that's my way. It doesn't make it the right way. It makes it my way. So you do it the way it's comfortable for you. But the point I want to make is you don't have to spend a lot of money to get these things running. And in question number 3, this one gets asked a lot, is the bottom end has got to be destroyed because of all the water that was in it. I agree. But somehow it's not, right? It's, could the bearings be toast? It doesn't sound like it. I don't know. I didn't take it apart. Again, you guys saw how much, if you haven't seen how much water came out of it and how much just stuff that was in it, it was pretty ridiculous. But so much juice came out of it, and most of it being water, that I expected it when it turned over that it would sound like a bag of marbles in a dryer. And it doesn't. It doesn't smoke. The bottom end, you know, people like, I get this comment a lot, the bottom end's got to be horrible, the bearings have to be trash. I agree. But as of right now, they're not. And we've ridden it, you see it, 2,900 miles, and it's still moving. Now, when I will share this with you with a couple of things about the condition of the bottom end. We did stick the bore scope in the bottom after I drained the oil the first time. Couldn't really see anything, but nothing looked furry. It didn't look like a boat anchor at the bottom of the ocean. When I pulled the clutch cover off to pull the clutch off, that looked brand new. Not a speck of rust in there. Nothing. It looked really, really good. I know it shouldn't. I agree. It shouldn't. It should be destroyed. But for some reason, it's not. And that's the part that baffles me. Okay, guys, so number 4, the 4th question is, what was wrong with it? What shut us down on our journey? What stopped us from being able to make it home? When it was crapping out at the end, it went from being perfect to not running well at all. I mean, it was just like a light switch. Well, right off, we automatically think to the earlier problem. It's got to be the earlier problem. It's got to be the earlier problem. Got to be the earlier problem. It's got to be DFI. It has to be DFI. It has to be DFI, right? It's got to be fuel injection related. But I was not getting a DFI fault at all. right? Was not getting a DFI fault. So couldn't really figure it out on the side of the road, but then after a while just started up and it worked. And then rode another 25 miles, started crapping out, and then rode about 20-ish miles again. That's where we pulled off and that's where we stopped. So, and then I couldn't really get it to start up again. It would try, it just wouldn't work, it just would run, but it just wasn't good. Wasn't happy. The next morning we go to pick it up and I try to start it. Tried to start it twice, it didn't start. We loaded it into the back of the truck, get it all tied down. I tell Carrie, I said, I bet you it'll start right up if we go to start it. And sure enough, hit the button, popped right off. I wasn't taken out of the truck. I just said, screw it, we're going home. So we took it, came all the way home, took it off the truck, rode it around the neighborhood, no problem. Set it on the stand and started running fuel injector cleaner through it just to clean it up. It was running. It was good, just like normal. And then I went to ride it around the yard, and I was going to show off in front of Carrie. Went to give it a little vroom, and it shut down. It just died. And then when I rolled it back into the shop, I had 0 spark on all 4 spark plugs, which was awesome. It was awesome because now we could point to something was wrong. Before we couldn't find a fault. And then it would run again, so you couldn't find it. So what it ended up being was the coil for 2 and 3, which coincidentally was the coil that we changed in the very beginning when we got this thing running. The bracket had lost a bolt, so it had vibrated a bolt off, and it slid down and was grounding on the frame. And where it goes through, the coil was loose where the jam nut and the spacer are. The coil was loose in there, so it was getting an intermittent connection. So once I sorted that out, tightened up the jam nut, and then added another bolt to the bracket, tightened it all down, we've been good for, and I've probably ridden it maybe 250 miles since then. Definitely 200 miles since then, and it's been good. It's been perfect, no worries. So that was our problem. And to be honest, guys, on the side of the road, I would not have thought to check spark because everything in my brain was thinking fuel. Because the bias from earlier, right? From when it broke down earlier and it was DFI related, I was only thinking DFI. And I would have had to pull the tank off to get to this, and then to get to the coil to see it. But if I would have had a no spark issue, if I would have saw a no spark issue, I wouldn't have thought the coil being loose. I would have thought the electronic ignition has failed me. That's where I would have went. I mean, I'm just being honest and being on the side of the road. That's where I would have went. First, I was skewed by the bias from what had happened earlier, and then I would have went right to the electronic ignition. I wouldn't have went to the coil being loose. That was it. That's what shut us down. Something simple. And I thought it was going to be something simple. And ever since then, the DFI has been awesome. We weren't having a DFI fault. Ever since when we were with BJ at Brickhouse Builds, we adjusted the throttle position sensor. It was solid ever since. Solid, and it's been solid since we got home. So that's where we are on question number 4. What shut us down? And it was actually something really simple. And a lot of you guys guessed in the comments about a short, and it was. It wasn't maybe where we thought it was going to be, but that's exactly what it was. Okay, guys, number 5, the 5th question. And again, these are in no particular order, but how much money did we spend to get this guy going? Let me move this back. To get this guy going and to take it from the way we saw it to the way it is right now, making its way all the way to Colorado and almost all the way back. So the total that we've spent is a little less than 600 bucks. A little less than $600. And guys, most of that money is in tires and having said tires mounted. I bought new tires, And the tires weren't ridiculously expensive. They're Dunlop 404s. I think I spent maybe 180 bucks for the tires from Cycle Gear locally. And that's what I spent. And then I spent $120 having those tires mounted. And I know that's expensive, but it was the best money I spent. Why? Because I watched two guys spend about 2 hours mounting and balancing these tires. Why? Because there was 40-year-old tires on them. The only pieces and parts that we bought, I'll kind of give you guys a rundown pieces and parts that we bought. We'll start from the front and work our way back. Bought this master cylinder, bought this switch. We, again, had to buy a triple tree so that we could get that there. We bought grips. I had to buy this perch because it was broken. That we did order, like I said, another fender, another swing arm, because I didn't have the original swing arm. I had so I ordered a swing arm, ordered front forks, fender, because I didn't have it, and then the day after it all came in, the previous owner contacted me and said, "Hey, I got other parts, won't you come get them?" And it was wheels, everything else. So that we worked out pretty good. But we were able to get rid of the other stuff. The other thing we had to spend money on, we had to buy a gas cap because we had to drill the other one out. So, and to put this on there. But that was it. That's all the money. Oh, we had to buy a rear master cylinder. That was it, guys. Fuel filter, air filter, little things like that. But like I said, less than 600 bucks. And we've already ridden this thing almost 3,000 miles. So it's not too bad for a free motorcycle. Free motorcycle that you have $600 in it, and it's starting to look really, really good. So guys, there you have it, our update on the 1983 Kawasaki GPZ1100. Hopefully that answers your questions, puts them all in one location. And guys, as always, thanks for watching yet another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. And do me a favor, like, tag, share, and follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're in the subscribing mood, go ahead and wander on over to our friends, Brickhouse Builds, Gold Guy, Moto Mango, Ace Cafe Bikes, and Mile Zero Racers, and Pete's Classic Cycles. Give those guys a subscribe too. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day.